Hi angels, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about how to activate your feminine energy to feel more sensual, more radiant, and more magnetic in your day-to-day life. Now, before we dive in, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And also make sure to click the little bell notification because that way you'll stay notified every time I upload a new video. All right, so let's jump into the video. So first things first, what is feminine energy? I'm not going to go too in depth on this because I'm actually thinking to make a separate video where I explain the difference between feminine and masculine energetics, but just to briefly describe it, feminine and masculine energies are universal energies that we all have access to. So it's not that men only have masculine energy and women only have feminine energy. So ideally, we want to have a healthy connection and expression of both of these energies within us. But for the majority of women, they have a more feminine core. So connecting to their feminine energy feels more nourishing, and vice versa. The same thing applies to most men. This is a generalization, so this is not the case for everybody, but the fact that you clicked on this video probably means that you are leaning more towards the feminine core and want to start to bring that more in the forefront of your life. Now, because we live in such a masculine society where achievements and goal and success and hustle culture is what's being praised, a lot of us have kind of disconnected from our feminine energy as we grow up. And the thing is that as women, if we have a feminine core, when we're disconnected from our feminine energy, it makes us feel depleted. It makes us feel disconnected. It can make us feel like we're not really fully living, like life is kind of passing us by, but we're not fully in it. So connecting and activating your feminine energy is a great way to really come back home to your feminine power and to just feel more alive and radiant and magnetic. The feminine pole of the universe, if the masculine is penetrating, the feminine is receptive and magnetic. So once we activate our feminine energy, we also become more magnetic. We start to attract the right people into our life, the right ideas, the right projects. Money can flow into our life more easily. So it's a really great way to start to become a magnet for all it is that we desire. Now, as I said before, many of us are completely disconnected from our feminine energy, and that's because generally speaking, the qualities that are associated more with the masculine are things like purpose, direction, success, goals. It's much more linear. It's related with the mind, with rationality, whereas the feminine principle of the universe is related with creativity, with flow, with intuition, with love, with nourishment. And we can see in our society that all these masculine qualities are kind of praised and valued, whereas a lot of these feminine qualities have kind of been diminished. So there's kind of this inner process a lot of women need to go through to really reclaim our feminine energy as a source of strength and power. There's kind of this notion that masculine qualities are more superior or stronger and feminine qualities are weaker. But when we look at all these feminine qualities, they complement each other beautifully, right? Like this quality of love, of intuition, of creativity, of flow. It's more related with the emotions. It's such an important realm of existence, and the masculine and feminine energies complement each other beautifully. So instead of thinking that one is superior to the other, we can actually learn to see the gifts of both of them, cultivate a healthy relationship to both of them in our lives, and then express what feels most authentic to us. All right, so with that being said, let's jump into the actual how-to. So I'm going to share some of my favorite ways to activate my feminine energy. And these are super simple ways that you can do right away. They're very simple, but they're really, really great at starting to connect us to that feminine essence inside of us. So the first one is to spend time in nature. There's a reason that we call nature Mother Nature, because nature is a representation of the divine feminine, right? It's the life-giving force. It's like nature is giving birth to all of us, to all of creation. And when we spend time in nature, whether it's going for a walk in the forest or going to a river or to the ocean and bathing in her sacred waters, we are recalibrating to that feminine frequency. It's like we are coming home to the divine feminine inside of us. This is one of my all-time favorite ways to connect to my feminine energy. If I'm feeling stressed, if I've been kind of in masculine energy mode all day, if I've been like needing to pay attention to to-do lists and, finishing tasks, and I've been in this like, getting shit done mode, there's nothing that connects me more to myself than just going out to nature, maybe having a swim in the ocean, or just placing my bare foot on the ground and just taking a moment to really feel that grounding energy. It's such a great way to bring us out of the mind and back into our primal nature. Now, the second tip is to connect to your natural cycles. So just like nature goes through her cycles and her seasons, we too go through internal cycles every single month. And a lot of us have kind of disconnected from our cycle, and we don't really pay attention to it because, again, in our culture, it's something that usually we don't talk about. It's something which is seen as an inconvenience. But in ancient cultures, a woman's cycle, particularly the time of her menstruation, was highly revered. It's the time in the month when we as women are most sensitive and most connected to our intuition. And nowadays, this sensitivity, it's kind of like, we demonize it as like, oh, like it's PMS, or oh, she's just menstruating. But if we go deeper to the root of that, we're actually highly intuitive during that time of the month. So actually honoring your cycles and trying to schedule your life according to your cycle. So for example, around ovulation is a great time to do more outwardly things. This is when we're shining, when we want to be out in the world. And closer to your menstruation and during your menstruation, going more inwards, maybe, canceling some of your plans, just spending the evening at home, taking a hot bath, maybe journaling, and really honoring that sacred inwards time. Another really great and super fun and juicy way to connect to our feminine energy is through dance. So the feminine is related with flow and with movement. So whereas the masculine is more linear, the feminine is all about flow. The feminine is about responding to life through all of her senses. So when I talk about dancing, I don't mean about learning a choreography step by step, because that could actually put you more into your masculine because you're in your mind trying to remember the steps. But actually just playing a piece of music that you love, a song that lights you up, and just allowing yourself to be moved by the music. Maybe closing your eyes, not thinking about how you look or trying to, come across a certain way, but actually just allowing yourself to be moved, allowing whatever is inside of you to express through movement. So this is a really great practice to kind of unravel and get out of the mind and into the body at the end of a long day. So at the end of a long day, when you come home, just playing a piece of music, closing your eyes, and just allowing yourself to dance and to express whatever emotions are alive in you through your body. And lastly, one of my all-time favorites, and if you've been following me, you would know this, is connecting to your pleasure and sexuality. So pleasure is another beautiful quality and way to connect with the feminine, and particularly our sexuality, our life force energy, ultimately is that Shakti energy, that divine feminine force. So when we start to connect to our body, when we start to awaken more sensitivity and pleasure throughout our entire body, and also awaken and activate our sexual energy, we naturally start to become more magnetic. We naturally start to radiate more of that feminine energy. So doing any kind of practices with a yoni egg, or doing any kind of internal yoni massage practices, or self-pleasuring, or doing a nourishing breast massage, these are all really great ways, again, to connect you to the wisdom of your body and to start to connect to that deeper feminine essence inside of you. If you're curious to go deeper into these kind of practices, first of all, make sure you're following me on Instagram if you aren't already, because that's where I'm most active. Also, make sure to add yourself to my newsletter because I send emails about all things female sexuality and pleasure regularly. And also, I'll link my free online course below, which is a free online course where all you have to do is leave your email and you'll get access to a 6-part online course, which is all about connecting to your pleasure and more specifically to your yoni, to your vagina. So you'll learn different practices like yoni egg practices and internal release practices to start to connect more deeply to your sexual power as a woman. All right, my love, so that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll start playing around with these right away. These are really simple, effective ways to start to cultivate more and more of your feminine energy and radiate it out into the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.